Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you today, wherever you are. And we just want to take a little bit of time each Monday as a follow-on from what's been happening in our live stream teaching on Sundays, just to help you as you go through the week with thinking through some more things that we've spoken about, giving you some ideas. Maybe we dig in a little bit deeper with some of it. But today I'm just going to give you some more thoughts out of Psalm 4, and I guess I want to just encourage you in that challenge I gave you around the media fast through the middle of the week. Just as a recap, Psalm 4 is very much a prayer from David in the midst of trouble, and he calls out to God. He obviously is provoked to pray by God's character, and he reminds God of his character, and he calls that to his own mind as he prays. And then you see that through the middle of the psalm, he's speaking to our emotions, and he's speaking to how we might feel as people speak badly of us. And obviously in his situation there were people around him, maybe enemies, but also people who were on his side, that he was wanting to speak to how he felt in the midst of that. He was speaking to anger and the value of zipping our lips to I guess lead us away from sin in the midst of our frustration. And he was speaking to despair as well, and he's calling out, where are we going to see some good? And he looks for that good in God, which is an excellent place to look. It's a logical place to look at a time when we don't see much hope in amongst ourselves in humanity. We're reminded that we can look to God for hope, our Creator, our Sustainer, and He's a God who's looking to do us good. And we see that David's situation doesn't change a great deal, at least not that we're told, but his state of mind shifts, and he finds real value in joy and in peace, and I think we can look to God for the same thing. But what I wanted to just follow up for you on was this thought that we have so much information for us at the moment about our situation, about our world, about what is happening with coronavirus. I was reflecting, I didn't say it yesterday, but I was reflecting on the fact that, the Spanish flu in 1918 to 1920, I think it killed, it was millions, and there was, all over the world, there was a couple of 100 million comes to mind. I can't remember the figure now that were infected with the Spanish flu, but it was about a fifth of the world's population died at that time from the Spanish flu. But I was thinking to myself, if we were, say, in Bendigo at that time, we wouldn't have known what was happening around the world. We would have only known what was happening here, and that would have been replicated all over the world. But the difference here is that we know through our modern media exactly what's happening all over the world at the moment. And so we find ourselves much more overwhelmed in the situation by all the information that we have. And I think that doesn't help us at times. It certainly adds to the feeling of being overwhelmed. And so I want to encourage us, like the substantial news of what changes for us living in Victoria and in Australia has really come at us last night and today, and we're not going to miss a great deal in the way of news probably on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if we engage ourselves in some sort of media fast. And I want to urge you to do that, not just for the fun of it, but to help you be able to get your mind back to reminding yourself of who God is, reminding yourself that He's there and He's looking to do you good, and help you to be able to call out to Him. And so I want to encourage you to join me tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday in a media fast. I normally get my media from the phone, and I'm checking in on the ABC News app. I love reading information. I love reading all the stuff that's happening, and so in the morning I'm checking what's been happening overnight in the world. I find myself checking through the day as well, and I'm checking in the evening, just reading all the news. That's how I access the news. For some of you, you'll be watching the TV news. For others, you might be reading the newspaper. But I want to urge you to have a go at putting all that aside. However you're accessing the news, it might be on your Twitter feed, on social media. Let's have a go at pushing it aside and instead replacing it somehow, whether we're praying, whether we're finding some way to remind ourselves of who God is and what he wants to do in our life and in our world. Find some way of doing that instead on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. And maybe that then helps you set some sort of pattern for yourself to be able to continue to do that. But there is no doubt we need to help ourselves to see God, to experience God, to know God and who he is in the midst of this, to help ourselves from being overwhelmed by what is happening in our world. So I want to encourage you in that. I'll be doing it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And will you join me however you can? If you want to let me know you're joining me in that's fine. You can do that. If you've got any more comments or questions from Psalm 4, feel free to comment below on the Facebook page here. And later in the week, I'm going to be taking a bit of time to dig around more in some of what I think is some application for us from Psalm 4 around pragmatism and around practicing the presence of God. So I'll let you, that'll come, and you'll see that when it comes. But thank you, and all the best for this coming week.